Welcome back to California Cooking. 'Tis the season for holiday parties, so I want to help you get ready in a snap. First, I'm making some festive appetizers. Then, I'm cooking up simple potato latkes with homemade applesauce. And finally, I'm getting in the kitchen with my mom, and she's showing me how to make a Christmas cookie that's been in our family for years. First up, I love the idea of small bites, especially this time of year when you have friends and family pop over and you just want something to nibble on. So I made a few appetizers that are quick and easy. It's holiday party time and you have family and friends coming over, so a good appetizer to have in your back pocket, I think, is important this time of year. And this one is gonna be easy, colorful, and actually, I think kind of healthy. I mean, it's feta cheese. This is a block of feta, and usually it comes in liquid. So I patted it dry to make sure it's nice and dry. And then I'm gonna whip it with some Greek yogurt, and then I'm gonna make this beautiful salad, like almost like an Israeli salad, with really finely chopped veggies on top and pita chips. So we'll see how it goes. I've not made this before, but I love cheese, and I love dip. So what could go wrong, I think, you know? So I'm gonna take this feta and put it in the food processor. To that, some Greek yogurt, not too much salt, and I'm actually probably not gonna add salt just yet because feta cheese is very salty. 2 cloves of garlic, and let's see where we're at, and then I'll add some lemon juice. Okay, so I'm gonna get a platter, and I'm just gonna, so look at that. So what you wanna do is you just wanna make a bed of feta, and then I'll show you what we're gonna put on top. This is gorgeous, and I didn't add any salt. I tasted it, it didn't need any, it was salty enough. Okay. Usually Israeli salad is cucumber, tomatoes, parsley, lemon juice, olive oil, garlic, salt, pepper. I'm gonna add a few other veggies. Radish, I'm gonna add some red pepper too, and just colorful and pretty. So we start by cutting up our tomato, and we want the dice to be pretty small. That's the key to this. Okay, tomatoes in, onto cucumbers. I like the little cucumbers. It's easier to chop and just do a fine dice. A little bit of radish, because radish is crunchy and it's red and white, pretty. Add a few of those in. Some red pepper for some crunch and color. All right, now veggies are done. A lot of olive oil. Good extra virgin olive oil. This is gonna be our dressing. Salt, healthy pinch of salt, lemon juice, parsley, finely chopped. And I'm gonna do a little bit of garlic, grate the clove, and look at the colors. That's what I love about this salad. It's gonna look so pretty on the white feta dip. So our whipped feta, and here's what we're gonna do. Right in the middle. Almost make a little well where they sit in there. And then our pita chips that came out of the oven, nice and crispy. I just, olive oil, that's it. Our pita chips, just pile them around. Okay, I have to try. I'm definitely making this for my next holiday gathering. Your guests are gonna love that one. So recipe number 2, appetizer number 2, super easy, Hasselback potatoes, or Hasselback. Hasselback is Elizabeth Hasselback. Hasselback are the way you cut potatoes. So these little potatoes, I would say it's like a 2-biter, which will make a perfect appetizer. So here's what you do. This is the trick. Take a wooden spoon, take your little potato. These can be done in big potatoes, but for this purpose, for appetizer purposes, get a sharp knife. And the reason you have the spoon is it stops your knife from cutting all the way through. Because the thing about a Hasselback potato is you cut these little cuts as thin as you can make them, but you don't go all the way through the potato. And then what it does in the oven, it crisps up, and then those little cuts become nice and crispy and delicious. And then we're gonna top them with some yummy stuff, like a loaded baked potato. So we have all of our potatoes cut, and I'm gonna put them in some melted butter. I have about 2 tablespoons of melted butter in the bowl. And then I'm gonna add olive oil because butter can burn if you're cooking at a high temp, but I'm gonna put these in at 400. So add some olive oil, salt. Potatoes always need a lot of salt. Pepper. Might as well take our spoon since we have it out. Get them coated. You want all of those little cuts to get the butter and the oil all around the potatoes. What I'm going to use, I know not everyone has this pan, and I actually never use it to make madeleines, which is that shell-shaped cookie, but I do use them for potatoes because it's the best little nest, I guess, for my potatoes. So you put the cut side up. So I'm gonna put this in the oven. I have a pretty high oven, 400 degrees. They should be done within 30, 40 minutes. Our cutie little Hasselback potatoes are out of the oven, and see how they get nice and crisp and brown on both sides. I flipped them halfway through, and it's so easy. You can top them with whatever you like, cheese, bacon. So I'm gonna do like a stuffed baked potato topping. So a little bit of sour cream on top, some bacon, and then a little bit of chives. And there you go, you just have to go down the line. Voila! Yum, I'm all about the small bites. Little glass of champagne, you don't miss the main course at all. Coming up, I'm getting in the kitchen with my mom and we're making Christmas cookies. But first, I'm making potato latkes with a side of homemade applesauce. You can't celebrate Hanukkah without a good potato latke recipe. Mine is super simple, but this time I made a homemade applesauce to go on the side. Take a look. We're making latkes. I am excited about a potato latke because it's potato, my favorite ingredient, and it's fried. And my husband is Jewish, so we now as a family, we do celebrate Christmas obviously, but we celebrate Hanukkah too. And latkes are the crispy potatoes that have the sour cream or applesauce on it. And I made them last year, and my mother-in-law said mine were good. So I thought that was the stamp of approval I needed. I'm gonna show you guys how I'm doing my latkes, but first, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna make homemade applesauce. And I think there are 2 camps, either people that like applesauce on their latke or sour cream. I'm a sour cream girl, but I still love the idea of applesauce when you're serving it for a little get together. So I'm going to, these are Honey Crisp, and keeping the peel on, I'm gonna make a quick applesauce. So take the core out and just a rough chop. This would also be something great to just have in the fridge. You could put it on pot in the back. I'm gonna put, I would say, a tablespoon of butter to get these apples going. Apples go in. Apples go in. All right, get that sauteing until we hear it. And then when I hear things starting to go, I'm gonna also add in some apple juice and let them just cook down until they're mush. And you've got applesauce. While that's going on, let's get our potato latkes. So this is where a food processor will really come in handy because it has the blade so quick. If you don't, you could do it by hand. It's just gonna take some elbow grease. Okay, I peeled my potatoes. Here we go. Look at how easy. 1 down. See how much faster than messing with a hand grater. Okay, 1/4 of an onion, and we're done. Easy, careful with that guy. And now, what you need to do is drain your potatoes. So you take a clean towel, I have a napkin here. I'm gonna dump all that in and give it a really good squeeze. See all that water that comes out you don't want in your latkes because you won't get the crisp that you want. Take some muscle. Pretty good. Okay, our apples have softened in the butter. I added a tablespoon of sugar. I don't want it to be too sweet. You could add as much sugar as you like. But I'm gonna also pour in enough apple juice just to coat them and then get this boiling, really. Get it cooking to hurry things up. And if you wanted to take your time, you could do a gentle boil, but I'm gonna try to speed it along. Now, in go our shredded potatoes. To that, an egg and some flour. I'm gonna do maybe 2 tablespoons. I did read baking powder was good to put in there, so I'm gonna do a teaspoon of baking powder, some pepper, and salt. And that's it. I mean, you can always add other things, but this is the simple, easy. We just stir this up, and then we drop them in hot oil. Now, we've got our grapeseed oil. I've got it on a medium heat, and I always want to make sure my oil is hot. I see the bubbles. I just took a little piece of potato because you don't want to put cold latkes into cold oil. They'll just be an oily mess. So I take a tablespoon and just drop them in. And you just keep doing that. And I like when they're kind of free form, right? They're not perfect. And that's what's fun about latkes. And you don't want them too big, maybe a couple of bites. I'm just gonna do 4 at a time. Okay, here we go, flip. Beautiful. Flip. My latkes are done. They look so good. I love how they get spidery like that, where the edges, those little edges get all crispy. And what you can do, if you're making a lot, keep the oven warm, just keep them in the oven. And you could even do it the day before, keep them in the fridge and then heat them up in the oven, but they're best when they're right out of the oil. Now, to our apples. That was probably, the time it took me to make the latkes is the time it basically took for the apples to cook. Tablespoon of sugar is in there, as well as some apple juice. And if you have a stick blender, this is where it would come in handy. I do not. So I'm gonna put these caramelized soft apples into my blender. And there was a little butter in there too, about a tablespoon of butter. There's some juice in there, which I wanna get. It smells so good to have these apples cooking on the stove. Just be careful, because it's hot. So you wanna just start slow. And we've got applesauce. Homemade applesauce. This is so exciting. I've never made homemade applesauce. It was so easy. You cannot screw this up, because trust me, I could screw anything up, but I did not realize how easy. Okay, all we do is plate them. I'm gonna scatter these guys around. And of course, like I said, I'm a sour cream girl. So I'm gonna have some sour cream over here. I'm getting excited looking at this. And we've got ourselves a latke party. Voila. I'm in latke heaven. I got started without you guys. I already ate one. My mother-in-law would be so proud right now if she were to taste these. Okay. Like I said, love sour cream. I'm gonna do both. A little, by the way. That homemade applesauce. Salty, sweet, cold, warm. I could eat these all day, not just during Hanukkah, all year. That applesauce was so easy, and you could tell it was homemade. And you know I'm a sour cream girl through and through, but I gotta tell you, that crispy potato latke with a dollop of both sour cream and applesauce was amazing. Coming up, my mom is showing me how to make Christmas cookies that have been in our family for years. That's coming up next. It's It's so much fun this time of year when you get in the kitchen with people you love to make a recipe you remember from childhood. So when my mom came to town, I asked her to show me how she makes her Polish horns. These are cookies that have been in my family for years, but I really never learned how to make them. So she showed me how. Look who's in the kitchen. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Jess.
How you doing?
Good, honey.
Good, okay. So what are we gonna make today? Because it's the holidays, and holidays are all about cookies.
All about cookies, and we're making, I think they're your favorite cookies, at least that I
They're
know
one
of.
of my favorites, yeah.
They're called Polish horns, and I've been making them probably like 40 years.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna try our hand at that today.
Okay, I remember them from as far back as my memory goes. I thought for sure you would know the recipe by heart, but you don't.
Because I'm not a baker. I'm a
Right.
cook. I'm a cook, but I'm really not a baker.
And when Mom said, I've got to call Aunt Betta to get the recipe.
Well, Aunt Betta's the baker in the family.
Right. But every Christmas time, you and the aunts make the Polish horns. So we're gonna make these Polish horns.
Okay.
But they're pretty easy because you don't really need a mixer or anything
Such an easy dough.
special.
It's such an easy dough because it's the yeast-based dough, but you don't have to let it rise.
Right, which made me think of like pizza almost. Like a pizza dough or bread dough has the yeast, right?
The first thing though that we have to do, honey,
Yeah.
is we have to put the yeast and the milk together
Okay.
in a bowl.
Would a bowl like this be good? Okay.
And just let it sit for a few minutes.
So 2 packages of active dry yeast.
Right.
Okay. And now the evaporated milk, which is not to be confused with condensed milk, which will give you a much different.
Right. Yeah, it would be too sweet. There's no sugar or anything added to this dough.
So we'll let that sit for, what do you think?
Just 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, so we let the yeast and the evaporated milk sit for 5 minutes.
Right. Now we add egg yolks.
Okay.
3 egg yolks.
3 egg yolks, which you already separated.
Right.
So
Just
we'll
dump
put
them
those in.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
dumping.
Okay.
After that, well, we stir in the eggs a little bit, and then we're ready to add the dry ingredients.
Okay, so our wet is finished. Flour.
Yep. And it's just kind of a dump. 6 cups.
You don't have to sift or anything.
No, you
Yeah.
need to add a little salt.
Okay, pinch or do we measure?
I would use like a half a teaspoon right there.
Okay.
Mix that a little bit, and then we got to add the shortening. This whole 16 ounces of shortening go in, and then you get it in with your hands, and you get messy.
Okay. That first feeling is.
Yeah. Add the butter. Just add a little bit here at a time, and you got to mix that in too.
Okay, Mom, now it's about the filling for our Polish horns. A lot of chopping of nuts.
Yeah, very finely.
Which I suppose, I don't even know if you can buy them that fine. You kind of have to do this chopping,
yeah.
right? So our nuts are finely chopped, and then for the filling, eggs, 6
egg whites.
egg whites.
You're not going to
Okay,
use
Mom,
the
go
yolks,
ahead.
just white.
You do the honors, and I'll keep chopping.
Okay. Okay, we got to give them just a little bit of froth, not much.
Egg whites,
Egg whites,
no yolks,
no yolks,
the nuts.
the nuts.
All of them, a pound
A pound.
of finely chopped walnuts. Okay, 2 cups of sugar. And now, anything else, Mom? A little salt?
That's it.
That's it?
And then
Okay.
we just combine it together and chill it. That's
Yep.
it. And then it's ready
Now
to
we
go.
chill it because otherwise, if it was soft like this, it would just run out
It
of the
would
cookie.
run out. Yeah, when we firm it up, it sits better inside the dough and it doesn't.
And guess what? We have one in the fridge. We already did. So we chilled our dough and our filling, and now we make balls. And
Lots of
then
balls.
they
Big.
turn into horn shape, crescent shape. But this is one of the
This
many
is where we
processes.
sit at the table and we each have our stations and we just roll cookie dough all day.
It smells good.
Then when it's a ball shape, you
We have some sugar.
you mimic a pile of sugar
Okay.
and you just kind of get it, coated on both sides
Yeah.
so it doesn't stick to your
Right.
cookie sheet. Then you take a glass, and for us this works the best. And you just,
Roll it
like
out.
you're making a pie crust only in miniature.
Okay.
And then you roll it up like that. Then you take a little, this is a half a teaspoon,
Yeah.
give or take. I mean,
Doesn't really matter.
The
You just don't
problem-
want it to ooze.
The problem is your tendency is to go too heavy on the filling,
Yeah.
and then it slides out. So just a little dollop. This is where a good baker makes it look pretty. Sometimes mine aren't as pretty.
I've never made these with you.
I know.
I just ate them.
The other key thing is make sure you pinch really good on the seams.
Okay, now you're gonna take, we had a little bit of Crisco left in the
Crisco
can.
is the best thing to use as a non-stick,
Yeah,
better than a non-stick spray or butter.
okay.
And then you just start assembling.
In they go, 18 minutes at 350. Our Polish horns are out of the oven. Mom, these look good.
You do.
Are you happy with them?
I am. I think they're pretty.
Dad, you chopped some walnuts. You wanna come try a Polish horn?
Sure. This looks good.
Okay. They need to hire Dad for commercials. You know when you eat a burger?
This is where Levi gets his drama.
Good job, Mom.
Good job.
Those cookies instantly make me feel like I'm at home for the holidays, and the secret is to keep them in the freezer, and they're cold and so delicious. Well, that does it for us. Thank you guys for watching, and happy holidays.